You couldn't have a better way to end the regular season for Tennessee basketball than a win in your final game at home. And even better so when it ends with an emotional Rick Barnes, one that wasn't angry, which that's a version we know quite too well, but one that was shedding a couple of tears. Paige Dower alongside Jimmy Himes recapping this fantastic win and then how that impacts their SEC tournament seeding. But first, the senior day. Obviously, I laughed with Rick Barnes. I said, guys don't really show too many emotions, but the moms did. The moms had plenty of tears walking down the line, but so too did Rick Barnes, getting lifted by Zakai Ziegler. And I think that's how you know how close that connection is when you see a player and a coach embrace like that.
Yeah, Rick Barnes said that he should have been picking up Zakai Ziegler, not the other way around. But they did the ceremony after the game, and that's the way Barnes had wanted it. He thought that was the proper way to handle it. And for the many fans that stayed to celebrate this team, and Rick Barnes in particular was celebrating Jemai Meshach and Zakai Ziegler, who are 4-year players. And you don't always see that. He talked about their loyalty to the program. He talked about their family's loyalty to the program. And when Jemai Meshach got the mic afterward, he said, this is a surreal moment. And Zakai Ziegler basically said, I love you guys. It's that simple. So a very nice send-off for those two seniors, as well as several other seniors, and two of them were starters.
Yeah, there were about 8 seniors,
Yeah, so Milicic was one of those seniors. He's a 1-year player, and Darling Stone Dubar, and also Chaz Lanier. Those are 1-year guys for Tennessee, and there was a walk-on in there as well in Grant Hurst. But it was just a big moment for Tennessee as they get a win. Wasn't the prettiest game, but the celebration of those seniors was a very special moment, and you could tell the fans stayed and showed their support, and I think there's a greater connection with fans and players when those players stay for 3 or 4 years. Not just one and done, but 3 or 4 years, and I think that was the appreciation in part shown by the Tennessee fans toward Ziegler and Meshach.
And part of Barnes' response to the mom showing the emotions is he's obviously like, yes, I mean, those players like Jemai and Zakai are incredibly loyal. Jordan Gainey didn't have a choice because his dad is on the staff. And I thought that was a funny remark. And we have some of those highlights over on our Twitter pages as well, if you want to kind of get a quick look at what that looks like. And then also during halftime, another, moment to honor some players, past players, and then guys who have been here for over 25 years in Bob Kesling and Bertelkamp. Just a really special moment mid-court, honoring them. They get their own jerseys and just the impact that they've had on this fan base over the past 2+ decades.
It was a very nice tribute to Kesling and to Bertelkamp. And Bob was a former walk-on Tennessee player, and Bert Bertelkamp was a highly recruited player that came to Tennessee, played with Bernard King, played with Ernie Grunfeld, had the assist record for Tennessee in an NCAA tournament game. But they teamed up for 26 years and had some very memorable calls. And coining the word money by Bertelkamp was one of his signature deals.
Talk to me,
Very, very nice that they were rewarded in that regard. And I do want to throw this in real quickly. Jemai Meshach won the Torchbearer Award.
Yes.
I only know of one other Tennessee athlete that did that. There may have been more, but Trey Smith, I know, won that a few years ago. That is an honor. That is given to a student at Tennessee who shows tremendous leadership and as a quality person, and Meshach very deserving of that award.
Yeah, I think Kiki Malloy and Riley West also had that when they were with softball as well. So just takes a phenomenal, well-rounded athlete and person and someone involved in the community to be able to get that. But speaking of Bert just a moment ago, he still has the record for 16 assists. And he said he's okay if Zakai Ziegler does that. He didn't do that tonight, obviously. We'll get to that in just a moment. But he's like, if they do that in the Final Four, I'll be okay to give up that title there. But next to our SEC seeding, of course, I'm sure a lot of us probably watched the buzzer beater between Alabama and Auburn. Alabama getting that buzzer beater on a jumper by Mark Sears, kind of negatively impacting the Vols and where they'll be seated and where they will start their tournament run.
Yeah, so an Alabama loss would have made Tennessee the 3 seed, but by Alabama winning, they claimed the 3 seed. Tennessee gets the 4 seed. Tennessee still gets the double bye, which is important. We heard Rick Barnes talk about the rest that they need. And also, Tennessee will be playing in the afternoon session. So their tip time from Nashville will be around 3:30 or 4 o'clock at Bridgestone, Eastern time. So we will see how Tennessee fares with that, but that seeding was impacted in that regard. It's kind of funny, Tennessee's the 4th seed in the SEC tournament. They're ranked number 4 in the country.
That just tells you how insane the Southeastern Conference is. And the main message from Rick Barnes in the post-game presser was that a lot of teams are fighting for their lives right now.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully for them, they are just fighting to get better. But if they don't get better, they've only got 2 games. So you definitely know that Rick Barnes is on his players. He certainly was in practice the other day. So it'll be interesting to see how the next couple of days go. They get the double bye, much needed rest at this point in the season, especially after what we saw in the game against South Carolina. As we finally get to those game notes, Chaz Lanier had his 12th 20-plus point performance, a great way to go out in his 1 year here at Tennessee, going over more than 20 tonight. And he was a big part of the reason why Tennessee was able to have multiple scoring streaks in this game.
Yeah, he scored 20 of his points in the second half. He also scored 9 points in a 14-2 Tennessee run, which separated Tennessee a little bit. Now, they'd had greater separation if they made free throws. They were 9 of 21 on free throws. They were awful at the foul line. But Lanier with 23 points was very strong. Cade Phillips played outstanding. He had 15 points. He had 4 rebounds. He had 3 block shots, maybe even 3 assists as well. He had not played well at Ole Miss, and Coach Barnes got on him, and he responded in this game. And then Gainey had scored in double figures. So those are probably Tennessee's 3 best players. But interesting thing about South Carolina, of their first 15 shots, 14 of them were threes, and they only made 2.
And somehow they were in the game.
And so Tennessee had a 10-point lead. Next thing you know, South Carolina's leading by 3 just before the half when Tennessee ties it at halftime 34-all. But Tennessee shot well over 50% in the game. South Carolina struggled at around 35%. And yet they were hanging around till the very end when Tennessee finally pulled away.
Speaking of Gainey and Chaz as well, they had a really nice couple of sequences in the second half where both of them were involved in back-to-back defensive rebounds, ending with a fast break bucket on the other end, leading to the largest lead Tennessee had at that point, 68-56. And South Carolina could not get a timeout fast enough after that bucket by Gainey, assisted by Chaz Lanier. And I think the way that they're linking and syncing right now, the lineups that Rick Barnes is continuing to manipulate even at this point in the season. I think we are seeing some flashes where different dynamics are really working well together. And of course, defense feeding offense, Rick Barnes is always going to be happy.
He is. And another note that I think might be a promising sign, and I'm going to say Zakai Ziegler didn't score until the last part of the game. He scored 1 point. He was 1 out of 4 on free throws, 0 for 2 on field goals. The only time in the last couple of years he had not scored in a game was against Kansas a year ago. But only 1 point. Yet Tennessee wins the game anyway. Now, he had 8 assists. All of them, I think, came in the first half.
Good memory, because that's exactly what I was looking for. I was like, I think he was involved in a lot of plays, just not on the scoring end.
But and again, he only took 2 shots. But for him to score 1 point and for Tennessee to win, I think that's a good sign. Even though I did not think Tennessee played that well against South Carolina, and they certainly will have to play a lot better in the SEC tournament if they want to make a run, or in the NCAA tournament if they want to make a run.
Because there were certainly moments where Chaz Lanier had a really great play on offense, but there was a breakdown on defense. And when there was that timeout or media timeout, Barnes was just going straight at Chaz and was kind of on him for the defensive breakdown.
It's important to make the right decisions, like when to go for it on 4th down, or when to kick the field goal or go for the touchdown. It's also important to make the right insurance decisions too. That's why my office, Trey McAdams State Farm, is here to help you select the right protection at the right price. Our office will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect when the unexpected happens. With Trey McAdams State Farm, it's easy to make the right call. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Proud sponsor of the Tennessee Vols.
So they'll probably work on that a little bit more in practice. Any one final note before we send it off?
Well, just I think the rest is important for Tennessee. We'll see how they fare in the tournament. They are in Auburn's side of the bracket.
Yes.
So, but at least
take that as you will.
But at least they got that double bye. So, and Rick Barnes said something also. He said, I don't take a team on the court that doesn't try to win a game. So while I know some people feel like, hey, if Tennessee loses, so what? They get another rest. But Barnes said he doesn't put a team on the court in which they don't try to win. So we'll see how they do at Bridgestone.
And stay tuned on Full Disclosure for more on Senior Day, which I promised you guys earlier today. If you missed it with my sit down with Jordan Gainey, certainly make sure to go back to that as he recaptures his time on Rocky Top and then all those moments from Senior Day coming up shortly. We'll see you guys tomorrow.